Hello, everybody. We're back for Graspable Math Part 2. Just coming on 4 to 5 minutes early just to see if we have sound and everything works. So we'll start at 1:30. So thank you for coming. If you want to say hello in the chat, feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know what you teach, where you teach. Would love to hear from you as we explore the power of graspable math activities. And yeah, if any of you wants to type, if you can do a sound check, vision check, that'd be great. Looks like it's going through, but yeah. I'll put the link to the presentation here. GM Virtual Math. That should work. Cool. All right, sound check. We got sound. All right. Yeah, looks like we do. All right. Yeah, I'm excited. This part of Graspable Math I absolutely love. I love the Canvas part that we showed last time, but here we're going to explore Graspable Math activities. They are awesome. Lots of different types of ways we can engage students here. So we'll explore too. So yeah, feel free to say hello. Let us know where you're from. And be cool. Hello, Amy. Thanks for coming. All right. And the main site here. Explore today. The activities page. Hello, David from Peru. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay. We have people come joining here. We got about 2 minutes to start. We're going to have a lot of fun today. This is going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. And you're going to see just how easy Graspable Math is to use in the classroom. Hello, Sergio. Welcome. Cool. All right. So doing my best to follow the comments here once I start sharing my screen. So we will start in 2 minutes. So kudos to all of you teachers on a Sunday afternoon. Well, where I am at Sunday afternoon, but taking a Sunday in July just to learn more about a math app. That shows a lot right there, in my opinion. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, 1 minute to go. We'll start in a minute. All right. I love GeoGebra. I love Desmos. I love Graspable Math. I believe Graspable Math needs to be a tool in every math teacher's toolbox, and it's an easy app to use, and it really is awesome at helping students, remember concepts they forget, algebraic concepts, helping them make sense of algebraic structure, seeing things, and they see the dynamics. It's really fun. It's really awesome. But we're going to explore a second part of the site here. So, yeah, we're just warming up. Got about another minute, and we'll rock and roll. So, my computer says 3:30, so let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to Graspable Math Part 2. Here, we're going to explore Graspable Math's activities page, all right, which I threw it in the comments on Facebook and YouTube, but I'm happy to throw it in there again. Activities.graspablemath.com. And I'll also post a link to the slideshow here. If you go to tinyurl.com/gmvirtualmath, I'll type it in again as well. That'll take you to the Google Slides presentation. All right, so it's coming through. Should be there now. All right, so let's talk Graspable Math activities, okay? So for the first couple minutes, what we're going to do is I'm going to have you guys take the role of the student, okay? I'll be honest with you. In the last, I went back to teaching in February. I taught high school math 15 years. I did independent consulting for 3.5. I worked for GeoGebra for a year, but my heart really missed being in the classroom. And when I got back into the classroom, okay, it was really difficult because they gave me a total of 11 classes that I had to teach in 4 different buildings over 4 different days. It was 4 preps, 11 classes, 4 buildings. I was running back and forth middle school to high school. And in all that, I had half my students at home. The other half was in the building. And then the next time we flip-flopped. And there were some kids that were always in the building, some kids that were always home. And it's just like, you know what? I've used Desmos activities. I've used GeoGebra Classroom, the Activity Builder, GeoGebra Classroom. But I for algebra and just for students show their work, I need something more than Cami on a PDF. It really is just because it's just not working, you know. So here we're actually going to take a look at graspable math activities, and they're very easy to use. I'm going to share, and we'll rock and roll here. So, but before we do that, I'm going to give you a little taste of what it's like. So here's an invite link right here, and if you're in the slides presentation, go to slide number, where is it? Go to slide number 9. Okay, if you're in the Google Slides presentation, go hop to slide 9. You can click on that URL there, or just look for the comments in just a second. I'll post it here. So let's come join this GM activities demo. Here you go. All right, you can access it from slide 9. You can access it in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube. All right, and so there you go. It should be there now. All right, so Emily's in. Welcome, welcome. Wow, people are starting right crazy. But see, I'm sharing my screen here. This is what I see. Okay, I can see where everybody is. Joe, Omar, D, a lot of people here. I made this a public session, so anyone who has that link can join. All right. So now I'm just going to go to the canvas here. I think I asked you to use the doodle Emily. I can go highlight Emily's work here. You see little thumbnails of student names. So let me look at Emily's here. Emily is feeling relaxed. I am delighted to hear that, Emily. Nice picture. That is awesome. All right. And so, I can click on anyone's student's work and see what's going on. Again, you're all role-playing the student right now. Okay, I'm role-playing the teacher, showing you what I see on my teacher session board. In Desmos, they call it the teacher dashboard, right? In GeoGebra Classroom, it's called the GeoGebra Classroom class overview page. But here in Graspable Math activities, the analog term would be just I would call this the session overview page right here. And here I'm looking at the first task right here. Now I can look, if I go back and hit this arrow, I can go back and see. I can go see, or I go to task 2 here, right? I'm asking if you all go to task 2 now. I'm just going to ask you to click on the symbols, right? If you are not here for Graspable Math Part 1, that's okay. But all you have to do when you go to task 2 there, okay, is go to the symbols. So I'm going to show you what a demo session looks like here. Let me just open that in a new tab. As a student, you see this, okay? So for you as a student, you're going to go to where it says goal state. Okay, so goal state right here, all you have to do is click on operations. See, when I click on the negative, the minus, it doesn't like it, but it likes it when I multiply first or take the square root, which is a grouping symbol, right? But I want to see if you can get to the final destination there. Evaluate that expression correctly. Again, I'm just reviewing your knowledge of the order of operations. But what I can see as a teacher, right, I can see all student progress in real time. Right? I could look at this. I could see David David may be working on it, started. John's almost there, right? And so all these people here, Renee is almost there, just one more step, right? She's probably finished it already. There may be like a 5-second lag. Nice job. All right. But you see here, the goal is to get 29, right? And obviously you were able to do that. Now, interestingly enough, right, Graspable Math also shows you the number of steps that it takes to get there. So Susan did it in 7 steps. So did D, right? But I'll be honest with you. When I taught my middle school students for credit recovery, again, my 11 classes over 4 days, right? Half the kids at home, half the kids here. I use this platform every single day. Mostly, again, for credit recovery to warm up. I needed to make sure those skills were getting brushed up on every single day. Cami on PDF didn't work. All right. If I do KM on PDF, I know a lot of these kids probably be streaming YouTube videos, right? But here, if you're going to ghost me, if my class of 20 is going to ghost me, I can tell within seconds if they're in or not. All right. But let's actually take a look at the third task here as a student. Now, see, I'm going to show you how to build something like this in the remaining time. We're just going to take a quick peek here. So our goal here is to line it up. You see how you can scrub coefficients? Let me demo this part right here for you. So again, we're on task 3 here, line it up. If you click on this button right here, you only have one type to work with here. I have an equation and slope. Click on that button right there. And what you have to do is scrub those numbers. Like take your mouse and just press it down and drag up and drag down there. Your goal is to make that line here that says yours lie on top of the green line there. Okay. So again, all these concepts students have learned before, slope, intercept, they're coming back at them in their face every single day. Why? Because I don't want them to forget. I can have a class of 20 students where half of them are here virtually and half are present, but you know what? It takes 20 minutes for me to check almost every single kid's work. But with Graspable Math activities, look at this. I see an overview of everybody's. You know how Desmos has that cool overlay? This is where everybody's lines are right now, right? But right here, I can see which students have done it successfully with the green check mark right there and which students are still working at it. By the way, one little trick that I totally didn't realize that you could do, if you click on a number, just click, you can actually change it to what a value you want. I think that was supposed to be a 3, and this denominator I think is supposed to be a 4. And oh yeah, now I can drag that up to 1, 2. When I get it right, it turns green. Now I programmed it that way, okay? But you know, if you want to use this as an assessment piece, you can actually create an activity, make a session where it doesn't turn green. Graspable calls that assessment mode. We'll talk about that later. All right. So yeah. So anyhow, let's go back to the next one here. This is one of my favorite ones. I think I tweeted about it last night or the night before. But let's go to where it says maybe hotspot. Okay. That's the 4th item there. Go to hotspot there. Here's how hotspot works. It's the 4th one there. What I did as a teacher beforehand is I uploaded a screenshot of an equation that I wrote, but it has a mistake. And what I want you as a student to do is to take that little blue marker there, and I want you to drag it on this picture. Just drag it on there. I want you to drag it to the exact location you see the mistake. There's only one mistake here. The first mistake you see here, I want you to drag it where you think it is. Let's try to solve that linear equation with variables on both sides. Okay. But where's the mistake? Let's see if you guys have found it here. I'm going to go down here a little bit. Oh, look at that. I think Emily found it, right? It turned green. Thank you, Emily. Let's see here. Now, I also gave you a workspace so that if you couldn't find the mistake, maybe you could use Graspable Math's equation solving feature to pinpoint the mistake yourself. All right. Now, Joe B correctly put the marker on, but Graspable Math is actually prompting him to actually tell me why. So, Joe, if you type a response in there and then click it, it'll, as long as the marker is where the mistakes are, that's where it'll turn green. Okay. Let's see here, the green for Melissa right there. Nice job, Melissa. All right. You got it going on there. All right. Maria, I totally agree. I love the fact that it's being done on a digital platform. It's beautiful. But yeah, so like right here, but see, I could see all student progress. I could see all student progress in real time here. Okay. It's pretty cool. But again, I could see the reasoning of one student or another, like right here, right? And say like, well, why did the student put put it there and do it there? You know, but see, again, I'm not here about right and wrong. That's not the whole point. The whole point is to formatively assess by evaluating. And look at this. I mean, we have a big class here, but a lot of you are putting it all on there, right? And just like in Desmos overlay, look at this. You see all those little green dots there on the 2? I could see where everybody in class has put it pretty much where the first mistake occurred. And I have a student maybe down here where the 17 is. Okay. And that's okay. But see, we're all, it's fun. That's what we get. So that's that. Let's take a look at another type. We looked at Hotspot. And obviously, there's nothing fancy about this one because you could do this on a Google form. But Graspable Math has it anyway. This is a multiple choice or check all that apply kind of a question. I'm just illustrating with a simple question here. Which of the following, obviously you can figure that out. But as a teacher, I can see all your progress in real time by going to the fifth task right over here. Right, that 5 button there. See? And so right there. Oh, did I? Ooh. Maybe I messed up in how I programmed it. I don't know. It was supposed to say correct with quadrilateral. Maybe I programmed it wrong. Did it only let you do one instead of more than one? Maybe that was my goof. I'm sorry. It probably was. But I guess as long as you have one with an even number of sides, I guess we'll count that, right? But I'll show you how. But the thing is, this is a little sample of the different question types Graspable Math Activities has. This is what I see as a teacher. Okay. Now, obviously, we may have like 100 something people watching. I have no idea, and this class is going to get pretty full pretty fast. And if you join this after the live session, you're more than welcome to play with it as a student. If you're watching this YouTube video or Facebook video after, I'll always leave the session open. But you can kind of see for yourself. But if you have a class of 15 or 25 students, the results are pretty nice to look through. And God forbid, something happens where kids are home again because of the virus. Again, we don't want to wish that at all, but God forbid it happens. You know what? If students are at home and we're here in school, we have a means of engaging every student regardless of their location. Just like Desmos activities, just like GeoGebra Classroom. Here, you can do the same thing. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to build stuff like this here. So that's the end of our little, we took 13 minutes there to kind of sample and explore it just as a student would. Okay. Now comes the question, how do you build this? And that I'm going to show you now. But before we do that, I'm actually going to go back to the StreamYard to see if there are any questions because for some reason my iPad isn't really updating as much. But let me see here. Let's take a look at some of these questions here. Oh, John, good question there. Great question. I can't add 6x to both sides. How do you do that? I'm assuming that's in one of the tasks there. I will show you that. You have to take the 6 and drag it down really far. If you drag it down really far, the x will come with it. You got to go farther than you normally would. I can demo that in a second, but I'll make sure I answer that now. Can you erase a line when working through a problem? Absolutely, you can. There is a reset button or an undo button. It's on the upper right corner here. I'll share my screen again and show you. All right, let me see. Let me just do that. Let me see here. Joe, I agree. I love Graspable Math activities. It blows my mind. It's so cool. But let me just share my screen again to answer John's question and the other question I saw there, erasing a line. Okay, so right here, let me do it in preview mode. All right. So obviously, if I do stuff here, I can always reset and undo my work at any time, right here. And John, with respect to this, I think John, you were looking here. Let me distribute my 3. Let me distribute my 2. All right, we'll add those terms. Now, this is what people hear. If I pull the -6, right, it's gonna do what we don't want it to do. So John, the trick is move that 6 down really far, super far. See how it goes with it? And once you're still pressing your mouse down, bring it over. Now I can do what I got it. Now I can do what I need to do. And then it might even help to drag the sign in front of the term too, and then go at it that way. And now we can divide by 9. And we could double click on that bar or just simply bring the 9 up in there. Whoops, maybe not. I can undo that and just double click there and get an approximation. Okay. So I hope that answers those 2 questions there. Before we move on to building, let me see if there's other questions there because my thing there. How can I undo that in an activity? I have a mess. Just Lisa, hit the reset button. Do you see a reset button up top or whatever? Or Lisa, if you just go to an incognito browser, just do a brand new user kind of thing, you could do that as well. I made this public so you can join multiple times, but if you're in your Google ID, it's going to recognize it and bring it to you as you, but just do another Google account or just random stranger. You can do that as well. All right. But yeah, let me just stop sharing and go back to StreamYard for a second to see if there's more. Cool. Awesome. All right. So again, let's talk now about building something like this. I'm going to walk you through how I made that from scratch. Okay. So here's what we're going to have to do. Now I could follow the guidelines are on the are on the PowerPoint, what do you call it, Google Slides thing, but it's just more natural to just kind of walk you through it here. But let's share the screen again and go here. Now where you want to go is activities.graspablememath.com. It's on the Google Slides thing, and I'll throw it in there for here. Omar, student, good question. I don't think so. I think you need an account, but normally that's called the. We'll answer that more in detail later. But I think if you're logged in with your browser right there, as your Google ID, it's probably going to remember you. So I'm thinking it will in the public session. But if you create your own classes of students, which I'll show you later, it'll better answer that question there. But let me put it here. And I'll throw that. That's where we're going. Activities.graspablememath.com. All right. And yeah. So this is where it takes us. Okay. Now I'm going to log out and pretend I'm you. I've never been here before. I'm totally logged out. So where I would recommend going is obviously we're teachers, right? Let's go to teacher. Okay. And let's sign in and create an account. You obviously need an account to create items to save, right? So we'll sign in. I find it easiest to use Google. My school ID for my, thing here. And I'm in. Okay. Now, if you looked at the main site when I logged out, I want to make this very clear here. GM activities, I love that F word. It's only one of the very few four-letter words that starts with F that I like. Free. GM activities is free for K-12 school teachers. For a district of school pricing, contact us, whatever, but you're using it for teaching and learning, you just have at it. It's all yours. It's beautiful. All right, let me go in as a teacher again. Google. All right. So, and it's not, there's a lot of tutorials on how to use it and stuff. And these are great resources I refer to you to access on your own. But there's really four main components here in the upper left corner. To get started, we've already seen it. That's where all the resources of the tutorials are. But there's activity banks, sessions, and classes. And those of you that are watching that are avid Desmos enthusiasts, you know this lingo very, very well, right? Activities. A graspable math activity is the analogy of a Desmos activity, right? And think about what you Desmos users do with an activity. You create a session out of it and have kids join and have your students join that session. Well, it's the same working in graspable math, right? Where I have sessions here, right? Now, these are all the sessions I've done and, whatever. And I also have, just like Desmos has, you have your classes, right? Now, like I said, I taught 11 different classes in 4 different buildings over 4 days. And these are my Google Classroom classes that I actually synced beautifully with Graspable Math. Those of you that have Google Classroom as your primary LMS, I'll show you later how you could just, obviously it's kind of like right here. It's pretty simple. I have a 1 minute, and honestly on this, it's on slide 12 here. When I did this for the first time, I literally, I recorded my doing it when I was teaching in my district before. I took a minute and a half to show exactly what I did to take my classes and sync them to Graspable Math. It's a silent demo, a minute long. It's pretty simple. If you get stuck, you can watch it. All right. But we'll do that. We'll talk about that later. But right now, where I want to go to is activities. Again, we want to build an activity. We have to be logged in under Activity Bank. Here it is. Let's create an activity. This is our own custom activity. Okay. Now, before I create my own activity, I want to point out to everyone's attention here that Graspable Math has featured activities up here, right? And they have a lot of different featured activities. I think some of the team is authored, or they have an explore option where I think it's kind of like people all over the world that choose to make their activities public. You can explore it as a teacher if you wish. And if you like it, you could use it. You can copy it, edit it. We'll talk about that later. But what I want to do is show you how easy it is to make one of these from scratch. I find that to be the simplest because that's how we're going to get to learn it very well. So I go back to Activity Bank, and I want to create an activity, brand new, my own. I'm going to title it. Okay. How about demo activity for virtual math 21? Okay. And I hit create. Okay. This is now, you know what this is like right now? This is like being in Desmos Activity Builder with a blank slate. You know, on Desmos, I have all the stuff on the left. I could throw in a graph, a marble slides, or whatever, right? Well, guess what here? All my options to choose from are right up here. In Graspable Math, you have 6 different task types that you could put in these activities. And in the first 13 minutes of this session, you explored with 5 of those. You played with 5 of those as a student. You played with goal state. That was like getting the 29, right? The order of ops. Line it up was the matching the line to get on top of the other line. The canvas is where you drew your smiley face. Tell me how you're feeling, right? The only one I didn't do was multimedia. If I want to throw a video in here, I can, but what's the point of me having you watch a video during a session? I'm doing this now. Multiple choice I showed you, and hotspot. Remember dragging the marker to where the error was? And also with hotspot, you can actually have up to 10 errors if you wish, and try to have the students identify every single one. All right. So it's pretty darn cool. Yes, Joseph, it is free. Graspable is again, quote unquote free, like Desmos and GeoGebra. I always say free with quotes only because you know, someone needs to pay the money for the computer and the Wi-Fi. But yeah, I mean, I totally get what you mean. I hear you. But yes, it is free to use as a teacher, obviously non-commercially as teachers are using it. So I'm going to choose goal state and I'm going to add a task. Now, this is what I type in the initial state, right? See how a keyboard comes up? What do you want the students to mess around with? I gave you an order of operations expression. But you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to give you an equation to solve. Let's say here, can I make it bigger? 3x plus 4 equals 12. Right? Or let me make it nice. 3x plus 4 equals 15 for now. Right there. Okay? Or 16. Make it an integer for now. And I hit done. Okay? Whoops. There's my first goal state right there. I'm trying to make my computer bigger, but it's not letting me do that. Okay. That's what I'm going to see. But now what do you want it to be? Now, right now, you have to know what the solution to the equation is. Or if you choose to type in an algebraic expression with x's, y's, or whatever, right? You have to give it its simplest form, if you will. But let's say x equals, I think the answer is 4, right? Okay. So that's what, and I'm going to hide the goal state. All right. Hiding the goal state means the students don't see what the solution is when they do that. And what do I mean when I allow for commuted answers? If the student gets 4 equals x or x equals 4, like flip-flopped, it doesn't matter. All right. And for the instructions, I'm going to say, hey, just say solve the following equation. Again, I give them the equation or expression I want them to work with and use Graspable to solve correctly. I give it what I want. Now, with the goal state, most teachers probably want what the solution is or what the simplified expression is. But then I could think of that, random SAT question. What's the value of 3x plus 2? You know what I mean? So you could type something like another version of that, if you will, right here. But I'll hit done. And let's see. There. And there it is. Now, let's do another goal state. I'm going to add a task. Okay. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. Now, I asked the Graspable Math people, I said, it'd be really awesome is if whatever I type in here, I mean, when in the advent of Wolfram Alpha and this and that, we have all these equation solvers and expression simplifiers. Is it possible to type in an expression and have Graspable Math give you a proposed goal state and you can decide if you like it or not? I think that would rock. And they said they told me that they'll be working on it. Okay, they love the idea. So great. But until then, I'll give you a little. Here's what I do to save time. I go to GeoGebra and I use their CAS app. It's right here. So if I go to geogebra.org, all right, most of you know how to find it. New tab. I'm going to go to the CAS calculator, computer algebra system, right? And right here, Let me just make it bigger so you can all see it. This is what I do. I keep two tabs open side by side, and this is what I do. I don't need this part. All I want is this. Let's suppose I do 3x minus 2x plus y minus 2x plus 4. I could do two variables plus 4x minus x minus 1. See how it does that? So basically, I use GeoGebra to cheat and save time as a teacher. I copy this and I paste it in the goal state, and I type this for the I type that for the goal state. So I'm going to do just that right now. I'm going to copy this, Command copy. All right, I'm going to go back here and type that's the initial state. Done. See how it just went right in there? And I already know the goal state is where was it? Not here. The goal state is 4x minus 9. Right? I just take advantage that the CAS technology exists already. Why should I? I'm not going to waste my time because time is precious. I need all the planning time I can get. And I'm going to hide it. And I'm going to allow for negative 9 plus 4x if I want. All right. And I'll just tell students to simplify. Here we go. And then I hit done. I can reorder these. See what I mean? I can move them around, whatever. Okay. Good question, Myra. Why would someone want premium? I don't know. But I might be able to look up the answer for you. If tim@brzmath.com, email me, I'll find out. But yeah, I want to show you another type of task here called line it up. Okay. With line it up, again, choose line it up. Let's add a task. Remember I did the goal graph? That was the line. You have a line, you have to match another line here, right? So check this out. Let's make a linear equation. Y equals 1, I don't know, 4th x plus 2. That's the goal line, right? And Graspable Math asks you as a teacher, well, let me change the directions here first. So there's the goal graph. That's the green one, right? And I'll say, hey, I like to give students specific directions and say, hey, use scrub coefficients. Scrub the coefficients in the equation below. I know it's above, but when they see it, it'll be below. So that your graph matches, or lies on top of, I should say, the one you see. Okay. Whoops. And then done. And so honestly, what they give me there is fine. I'll just hit done there. And so you see that's a line up. You can do that with a quadratic, you know. We have line it up right there. See how it still says line up? Let's just throw a quadratic in there. The HKA transformations, you know what I mean? Let's do y equals 2 times, show you what I'm typing down here. Y equals 2 times x minus 3 quantity squared plus 1. Let's say that's my goal graph, right? And the starting graph starts up there maybe, or whatever. And you could choose the starting values you want, all right? So again, make it match. We hit done. All right, there we go. Okay. So you answered your own question. Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it. All right. So I'm just trying to follow the comments here, but Facebooks aren't showing up. YouTubes are. But anyway, so there's line it up, and now let's talk Canvas. All right, Canvas right here. We talked about the Canvas in our last Graspable Math session, but I'll add the task. A Canvas is just a canvas, right? I like to give canvases for students to check in. Sketch a picture, use the draw tool. Use the draw tool below to sketch a picture of how you're feeling today. Now, I need to make this disclaimer here. I do want to know how students are feeling. Yes, I do. That is of utmost importance. That's why I put it in there. But there is also a secondary reason why I put it in there. When you scrub coefficients, like, you know, for the line it up, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to try to match line on line, right? If I don't go to settings here in the canvas and change it to and change the scrub decimal place to 0, it will actually scrub by 0.1s. And if I have 9 over 3x, and that 9's got to become a 1, it's going to take forever to get down to 1. So when I scrub numbers, again, for those of you that watched the last session, I want to scrub up, down. Like, I just want it to go by integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Or going down. I want to make the scrub decimal place 0. That's a graspable math hack right there. If you put a canvas in any activity you build, make the first item a canvas, make it a, hey, tell me how you're feeling, sketch a picture, what's going on, or whatever. Or you could do some math in there too, right? But you have, if you go to settings, make the scrub place 0, and just hit done. All right, that will cause everything here to scrub by 0.1s there. See, I can move it anywhere I want in here. I can move these guys around, right, wherever I want. And I could always, you want to see what it looks like? I could preview it as a student. I am not done building it yet, right? But just like Desmos, you know, I know teachers ask, hey, if I have an activity and I make a session out of it, but I forgot, I wanted to put something else in that activity. Well, the answer is you got to make a new session to have it reflect the changes. The same holds true here in Graspable Math sessions. But if you want to preview it, just like Desmos says preview, you could preview it here. This is what the kid will see. I can doodle, la-di-da, draw a big smiley, right? And go to my goal state, see what it looks like, right? See what I've done so far. It looks good, but see, if I go to line it up, I click on the button. See how they scrub by whole number increments. If I didn't put the canvas in there and make that scrub place 0, you would see 0.1 change instead of 1. So that's why it looks like that. So I always recommend the teachers to definitely try it out before you give it to your students. Just like, you know, it's just, I feel like it's common sense, but have I ever made the mistake of not doing that? Many times. And I'm sure some of you watching have done it too, because time is so precious, right? But now imagine the power that you have here. If God forbid we're like split like we were last year, hybrid or full remote, you know what? It's like, at least we have something that can engage kids. And I can only work with 1 or 2 or 3 students at a time in a group, but man, Graspable Math can help the other 20 something informatively assess if they're correct or not, you know, here. So we could try the other, line it up, click on that. How's it looking so far? Yep. Okay, let's move it down. I got to bring that 4 down. Oh, it looks like I got to widen it a little bit, right? Hey, that looks good. Okay. So again, whenever you're building an activity, you can always, whoops, wrong one. You can always preview it at any time. So I'm going to exit the preview right up here and keep building. But let me go back to StreamYard for a second, because I want to make sure there's no other questions here. All right. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So let's talk about hotspot now. Okay. We did canvas, goal state, line it up. Let's do hotspots. All right. Multiple choice, you know, that's like, you could do it in a Google form. It's pretty simple. You know, it's like, I don't think I need to show you, but I can later. But hotspots, what I really want to, that's what's hot right now. So I go to hotspot, hit add task. Now, what you need to do is have an image in your computer that you can upload to this. I need a picture of some math work. And I have it here. So I'll click it. I'm going to find it on my desktop. Where is it? Equation, one mistake. This is what you looked at before, remember? And look at what you have here. What options do you want for students here? Do you want to only place 1 marker, or do you want multiple markers here? And how about for feedback and scoring? Do you want students to mark every place that there is a hotspot, or do you want to mark at least only 1 hotspot? Again, you have some options here. So I have 2 different problems. I have a problem here with 1 mistake. So I'm gonna say 1 marker and mark all hotspots areas. Okay, mark the place that's incorrect. And then I'm gonna provide a workspace. Remember, you guys got to solve the equation after? I did it because I gave you that. So what's the initial state? I'm gonna type in that original equation. It was 3x minus 4 equals 2, negative 3x plus 2 plus 15. Just a small workspace. Remember, John, you asked about moving the 6x over, whatever. That's where this came from right here, right? So now I simply hit done. Oh, no, wait, I'm not done. You know what I have to do? I have to use my mouse to drag in here where the mistake is. Again, let me undo that. Press and hold your finger down your mouse pad. You have to tell Graspable Math, like its sensors, whatever, like just to tell me if a student, remember the error was here, we didn't distribute. So that's, if that circle is anywhere in that region, it's going to turn green after, the student reflects on it. Now look at the additional options. Do you want to include a reflection prompt? I say, heck yeah, I do. All right. And this is where I said, hey, explain what the student did incorrectly and how she can fix it. Again, this part's not really graded so much. What Graspable Math is only going to give you the green feedback if the dot is over the 2. I think we all know that. But I like to read students' thoughts and comments there. And I was able to see it on my dashboard before. So I'll hit done. And see, I can move this anywhere I want in here. So I can move it here, I can move it here. Right? I could take this and I can make a copy of it. In Desmos, you could duplicate a screen. Well, you can copy a task here in Graspable Math, or I can delete it, right? But I'm going to throw one more hotspot on here with multiple errors. So again, as a teacher, I'm building this in my planning period. I click on the image. I do have another screenshot here. I'll have multiple mistakes. Big mistakes here. So I'm going to opt for Graspable to have students place more than one marker. See what I mean? And I want them to mark. Now here I can choose at least one, all. I mean, when you have more than one mistake in a problem like this, it kind of gets very subjective after a while. But I think we could all agree as teachers that I need to make sure that the student puts something here, because that's pretty bad up for the first step, right? And oh my gosh, isn't this just as bad right here? And it's like, man, why the heck are you subtracting before you multiplying, man? Come on. And maybe I should make that box bigger because, we should give students a lot of room here. You know what I mean? So there, maybe I'll make this area bigger here. See what I mean? And maybe I should make that 12 bigger. Again, just press your finger down. This is where all the mistakes are going to happen right here. Something like that. And the 420 is a mistake too because it's all correct, but you're wrong. But I mean, I don't know. I guess that's us teachers. Shoot, do I have them place? Maybe I tell them to mark the places where the student made a mistake in her computations, something like that, right? So then I hit done. I could provide a workspace in the image there, and maybe I want to give them a workspace. 10 plus 2. Maybe I want this to be a learning experience or a relearning or a relearning experience that, darn it, you don't add before you multiply, right? Let Graspable Math do the shouting, not you. See what I'm saying? But again, the more actively engaged they are, the better it is, right? I'll just hit done for now. Or maybe at least one, all. Again, this determines if it's green or not, all right? But I'll do all for now, hit done. And there we go. Now, I know we have 10 minutes left. Yes, it needs to be, I see the question on YouTube. There does need to be an image to upload. What I do is I write my work out, and what I do is I take a picture on my phone. I'll airdrop it or just send it to the computer and basically just have that picture become whatever. But yeah, you do need a screenshot of something. You know what's awesome? What I used to love doing before all this is just collecting students' work, and I would look at it during my planning period and just kind of make photocopies without the names and just give it to them the next day and say, hey, find all the mistakes and tell us what's wrong. You know what I mean? But again, you're putting the students in the evaluator seat, which I think is very powerful. All right. But this is a way to easily do it in an electronic sense. So last but not least, let's take a look at multiple choice. All right. We'll add a task and say, which of the following numbers are even? So let's say 2, 3, 4, and 5. And obviously, we want students to check more than one option, right? So I'll say that's correct and that's correct. I thought I did that when I programmed it last time, but who knows? What's the additional options? Yeah, we don't need to reflect on that for now. We don't have time. So I'll hit done. And the only thing that I did not show you was the multimedia. But if you want to add multimedia, you totally could. But again, I'm not going to do that here. All right. So let me just delete that part. And guess what? My activity's done. I could preview it. Starts off with tell me how you're feeling. These are all the tasks. I have two scrubbing exercises where you got to match graphs up. Oh, so that's what these are. Here you have to simplify an expression, solve an equation, tell me the hotspots. But if you want to, but what we can do, exit the preview. Now here's where I actually had our time a few months ago. What I didn't realize, I have to actually make it a public activity. So when I go up here, if you want to share this activity with another teacher, what you need to do is click on that cog that wheel right there and make it public. Graspable Math is going to change this workflow to make everything default to unlisted versus private so that teachers to whom you share the URL will get it. But right there, I have to make it public so it'll be on their page there, but whatever. But the point is now if I share with you this link right here, if I give you this URL, that's the activity that we made. And here is where the sessions comes in. I make the session and I make the session. See, the session is like a Desmos session, but now if I click assessment mode, all that means is that the students won't know if they did it right or not. They won't see any green confirmation. If you check that box, it'll take that part off. If you uncheck it, 100% purely formative, right? And you got there. Okay. So I'll make it a public session. I'll create it. Now, what I'll do is I'll copy the invite link and then I'll give you, this is the invite link I will give to you. Come check out the session as a student. So now you can see what the student sees. And it's coming out to you in social media right there. Okay. And there it is. But I'm not going to actually have you re-engage in that because you just did it for the first 13 minutes. But that's how I would do it if you were to do there. Okay, to kind of go at it that way. But we have people joining, and again, I can click on any student work and see what's going on. All right, and see what's happening here. All right. I'll give you 2 minutes to play with that, and then I'm going to take the last 5 to talk about making Graspable Math classes. 2 ways to do it. The first is Google Classroom. The second, I'll show you that, but let's get this out of our system now because we're just having too much fun. Yeah, let's see. All right. So yeah, but look, and you look here, if you see, I think you can still see my screen, right? Yes. If you look here, Graspable Math also, this is a new feature. Graspable Math also tells me the number of steps that a student took to simplify an expression, right? When I was teaching the middle school students with credit recovery, I had a couple students get 153 steps for like an equation variable sides. I'm like, dude, why is this 15-second Hulu commercial taking 2 minutes and 30 seconds? It shouldn't, you know what I mean? So we stop and think, and we don't want to go around in circles, do we? No. But again, is it bad if there's more than the least number of steps? I don't think so. As long as we're learning collectively as a whole, individually and collectively. That's what this is all about. And Graspable Math gives you the power to do that with your students so easily. It's just lots of fun. You want to try Hotspot really quick? You could try the multiple one if you go to number 7, I think. Let's see if this works. I know we don't have time. We have to be finished in 5 minutes, but let's go to if you're there, go to task number 7 where it says Hotspot. I clicked on it myself. And let's see where you guys are putting all the markers there. Just drag the circles there. Put them on the screen there. Yeah. So we could see, I could see Joe's work right here. See Joe put those on right there, right? Again, between the teacher overview page and the student work, I play with this a lot in the credit recovery classes I taught. There's about there could be up to a 5 to 7 second delay with it showing up there, but you know what? It's okay, you know? And here's, interestingly enough, unlike Desmos and GeoGebra, I didn't realize it until a few months ago, but you can actually click on one student work. Hey, Joe, if you're watching there, can you actually move the dots around, please? Just move around ever so slightly. I want to see if it's, I can look at a student's work up close and actually see it move, like looking at one student versus like a bunch. You could zoom in literally on one student's work. Okay, maybe because a lot of people it won't. I don't know, but the point is, it works. But even here, Shirley's right there. But Shirley, if you go ahead and can you start dragging that, moving this expression here? Let's just see if it works. Shirley's going to go to the space there, hopefully, and start playing around with that expression there. But I'm looking at her work up close, and I'll be able to see her making the changes there. It did work with my students, I do promise. But yeah. Oh, speaking, Shirley tweeted a great idea on Twitter, but wouldn't this be an awesome thing for geography teachers? You want to identify countries on a map, or maybe give your students a quiz, maybe the continent of Africa. Again, not a high DOK level task, but man, if you have the whole continent of Africa there, and where's Chad, where's Algeria, you know what I mean? This could be a great way to do that, I think. Oh, there comes Shirley's work right there, right? There's something there. She did 4 times 6 first. But the point is, your possibilities are limit. There's a lot of possibilities here that you can flexibly engage your students in real time while you formatively assess them. It's pretty powerful. All right. So I want to show you. I want to end this session with. I'll take some questions, but I want to actually show you the overview page again. The activities, Graspable Math. Teacher. Okay. Let me show you classes quickly. I found it easier to create classes. Now, if you use Google Classroom, it is your dream come true, lucky day. Add Google Classroom. It syncs beautifully. So that way, when you have an activity and make a session, watch this. For an activity, let's say I want to make a session here, right? And I could choose to assign it to my Google Classroom classes because I synced it up. You know what I mean? And every student joins through Google Classroom. It works beautifully. If you watch that video in the Google Slides presentation, it's a minute long. It's so simple to initially sync it one-on-one time only. Okay. But if you, the school I'm going to is using Canvas. We don't use Google Classroom. So one option I have here, which is pretty cool. Now, Graspable told me they're working out a Canvas integration, but obviously it probably won't be done for the school year, but that's okay. You know what you can do is make your own class. Check this out. If you go to add class here, I'm going to call this sample for Virtual Math 2.1. I'll create it. Now I can add my students. So watch this. So now I could add one student at a time. Jason M, and just add, Jason M. I could do that, but let me delete it. And they give the student a PIN, or a personal identification number. But I find it easier to import. Like many of these LMS things. Let me just show you something here. Have no, sorry, wrong one. This is it. Let's suppose I do this, for example. You see right here, I have John Smith, Carol Jones, and Ed Schmidt. I just made up these names here. Let me just if you can get your student roster in like a Google sheet like this, all you got to do is copy it. If I command copy, go back to Graspable Math, and I basically I think I could paste it right here. Nope, I just did it. Oh, let me import. Sorry, import, and then I paste it right there, and see how it does it. It tells you what you want. I add 3 new. You see what I mean? If you have a whole slew of like 50 something students or whatever, you could just manually put them in all at once. And all the student needs is a personal identification number to get in that session. Hey, 6587. It just randomly, you could make a new one, or you could just add more. But with Google Classroom integration, you don't need the PIN because Google Classroom is what gets them in. So when I go to my activity bank, remember, this is the activity that I made. I make a session out of it. And then now I could choose to go to see my sample class for VMC, and John, Schmidt, and Carol, whoever they were, will be the only students to get that. Nobody else in the world will get that except those 3 students in that class. But I could opt to make it a public session, right? Anyone in the world can join, or only my private Google Classroom classes. You can pick and choose to your heart's content. And when you do it for 5 different Google Classroom classes, when you do it that way, okay, it will literally make 5 different sessions that no one's in anybody else's. So that's what I wanted to show you there. I think we're just about out of time. But yeah, so if you have another question or two, I'm happy to stick around and answer. But thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday to join us. It was an honor and a delight. If you have questions, you could always email me, tim@brzmath.com. And if you're interested in more social media links, there's a QR code right there on the Google Slides thing. A lot of ideas there too. So is there an option to provide a class code for them to join the class? Well, to answer your question, I think would be option to provide a class code. I guess you could, but the thing is what happens is you make the class on Graspable Math, and you import students into that class. You type their names in manually, or you import it from an Excel or Google Sheet roster. But what Graspable Math will do is give the student a personal identification number that they will have to remember. Okay, totally. All right, so that's the way the security there. So you don't have anybody who's not supposed to be in that class coming. All right. If we have special education students, could we create a class for each person? You totally could. I'm not sure why you'd want to. You may have reasons I don't know about. But you totally could. There'd just be a ton of classes in that list, Can you pause the session after students have worked on it? At the moment, the answer is no. But if you email, if there's Graspable Math, I'm sure has a email on their website. They read their email daily. You know what? You may want to ask them that, because I think that's an awesome idea. Like Desmos and GeoGebra have the pause buttons. I mean, I have to think it might be being worked on. I don't know, but I think that's an awesome suggestion. So I would email them, and I could email them for you if you want, for sure. Shirley, thank you so much for joining. It's awesome to have you as always. Is work saved between sessions like Desmos? Heck yeah. All right. Absolutely. Now, even the public session you joined, you're in a certain Google ID in that browser you're in. But if you go back in that ID and go to that same URL, it should save your work, right? Totally should save you. All right. If you're incognito, probably not. But congrats on that handle parent functions. As far as I know, I've tried it. Yep. You could see if you could break it. If you can, email them. But I haven't found it to break yet. So it's an awesome platform. It really is. It's very easy to use. Great question, David. Totally awesome. Omar, as always, a pleasure. Thanks so much. Thank you. I know I'm 3 minutes over. I need to split respect time. So until next time, have a great rest of your day.